Hello and welcome back to Loom. So last time Bobbin made his way through the Dragon's Cave and the Forge of the Guild of Blacksmiths. Eventually we were captured by Bishop Mandible and taken to the Cathedral of the Guild of Clerics. Now we find ourselves in this cage, and of course we're going to spin the open draft on the cage door.
You see, Cobb? An elusive breed, these weavers. Fortunately, however, they're quite helpless without their weaving sticks.
That distaff will never work for you.
Oh, no, my young friend, you're quite wrong about that. Come, let me show you why. Consider the common graveyard. There, the boundary between the living and the dead is indistinct.
Every graveyard's like that, so?
Now, imagine what might happen if this delicate boundary were to be somehow breached. Torn open, so to speak.
It's not that simple. You can't just rip the pattern apart like an old rag.
But it is that simple, my boy, and I can. I have only to lift this rod, and the legions of the dead will stream forth onto the plane of the living. A vast army of the dead, nourished by the shepherd's flocks, armed by the artisanship of the blacksmiths, guided by the glassmaker's sphere. All under the spiritual leadership of one supreme commander, me! The final hour is now at hand. The age of the clerics is upon us. I have preparations to attend to, Cobb. Don't let this boy out of your sight. He is to touch nothing. Do you understand me?
Perfectly, Your Excellence.
Lord Mandible, ruler of the universe. I do like the sound of it. I'll have to change my stationery.
You're not so dangerous now then, are you?
Okay, now we know what Mandible's plans were. He's used all of the different guilds to create the pieces that he needs to basically raise an army of the dead and rule the world. So, pretty nasty guy. Let's talk to Cobb.
Going somewhere, Weaver boy?
No, sir. Right, what we need to do is examine this Scrying
Keep
Sphere.
away from that. His Eminence said not to touch anything.
I wasn't going to touch it. Just looking, Cobb, that's all.
Just looking, eh? Well then, perhaps we can do a bit of a trade. How about I let you look in the sphere if...
If... what?
Well, the legends say that to gaze upon an uncloaked weaver brings death. Naturally, we clerics aren't given to such silly superstitions, but I'm curious. Let's answer this one once and for all, shall we?
May we have some quiet, please? I can't even begin to invoke the dead with all that screaming.
Well, he can't say he wasn't warned.
Quite so. This, what you just saw, where Cobb was sucked into Bobbin's hood, that is the bit that I was talking about where on the other versions of the game, if you play on the expert skill, you get an extra scene. It's there. Basically, you see Bobbin take his hood all the way down, and then like a flash of radiant light comes out from his face, and Cobb is like sort of disintegrated into a skeleton. It's just a little bit more graphic and cool looking, but you can only see that on the expert difficulty, and that is not the case in this VGA version. So that's why I don't need to play on that. in order to see everything. Anyway, once again, it's a scrying sphere, so we'll examine it 3 times. Another chance to see the mysterious swan draft there. Notice that because we don't have the distaff at the moment, we didn't see the specific notes written down. Chicken there. So those last 2 visions basically show us Hetchel's fate. If you remember, Hetchel went into the furnace to retrieve the distaff. So yeah, quite sad really. And let's not forget this bizarre beast in this cage. Let's have a look at this guy.
She looks hungry. I think I'll stay out of her way.
Right, all that's left now is to go and confront Mandible. Of course I'll shut up over the cutscene, but I do just want to say, watch what happens to Mandible at the end of this cutscene. It's awesome.
I see Cobb has been lax in his duty. No matter. You're just in time to witness the dawn of a new era.
You don't have the slightest idea of what you're doing. The pattern is already worn and frayed. If you rip a hole in it now, the consequences will be beyond anything you can imagine.
Spare me your weaver mysticism, boy. The time has come when the dead shall no longer envy the living.
You've torn the pattern completely open.
And with it, the eyes of the dead. Behold!
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Who dares disturb the peace of those who sleep?
I welcome and greet you, noble spirit. I am Bishop Mandible, Transultimate Apostle of the Anti-Secular Conclave of Clerics. And whom have I the honor of summoning?
I don't think I want to be part of this conversation.
No one obeyed any summoning of yours, foolish mortal. I have summoned you. I am Chaos. You have merely opened the door, and I have passed through it. For this, you shall be rewarded. Join me now, as my slave. I see it has been much too long since my last visit.
I can't seem to hold on to this thing.
Wow, how violent was that? Mandible basically gets disintegrated upwards from his feet to his neck, and then his head goes flying off. That's got to be the goriest thing that happens in any LucasArts adventure game. So badass. Such a cool bit that, where Chaos comes through the rip in the pattern with the Tchaikovsky music playing in the background. So epic. Also, another little crossover here for other LucasArts games. If you've played Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, I haven't actually played that on this channel yet. I will do in the future. But if you've played that, at the beginning of the game when you're in New York, and Sophia is doing a lecture where she pretends to be in contact with a psychic medium from the lost city of Atlantis called Nur Absal, and basically you can send this like ghost thing out on a conveyor belt over the stage, which ruins the show. And the appearance of that ghost is it's basically Chaos from this game. It's like the exact same design. So that's another little cool Loom cameo in a different game. Anyway, we've finally got the distaff back again, so let's go back inside. And oh dear, what's happened here? The cage is empty. The beast has escaped. Let's go back out here again and see what happens.
Stop!
See ya. Alright. We have fallen through the hole in the pattern and we are outside the pattern. The pattern is basically reality, or like the plane of reality on which the world exists. So now we're outside it in this like interdimensional plane where we can fly around. We can't go back in because of that beast, I think.
I think I'll stay out of there. That dragon looked rather hungry.
Yes, indeed. So let's go to this place first. There are several holes that have been ripped in the pattern where the armies of the dead are trying to get in. And look, here's Rusty's body.
Rusty? Is that you? You don't look at all well.
I'm not well. Actually, I'm dead.
I don't know what to say.
You don't have to say a thing. What do I matter? I'm just another one of the dead.
Oh, Rusty, I feel terrible. I didn't
And
know.
that's not even the end of it. I go outside to wait for doomsday, like a good little ghost see. But no sooner do I get settled again, but some stupid idiot shreds the universe apart and hauls us all back inside. There are a lot of very unhappy dead wandering around here, let me tell you.
I know. I was there when it happened.
I might have known this was all your fault.
No, it wasn't me. The bishop managed this one all on his own.
Yeah? Well, there's going to be hell to pay, literally. There's talk among the dead that they're going to take over the world, starting with the Forge. My home. Where we used to build strong things, good things.
Right. So pretty grim stuff here. Basically the holes in the pattern have allowed the dead to go through into various parts of the world and just cause chaos, no pun intended. They've turned the blacksmith's forge into this like cloud enshrouded flying fortress of doom, and that was going to be the plot of the sequel Forge, where you play as Rusty trying to restore his home. Basically, they've already, wreaked havoc everywhere, and so we have to go around and try and patch it up as best we can. Remember when Fleece taught us the healing song? So we can use that on Rusty for a start.
You did it. You brought me back.
It is what you wanted, isn't it?
Believe me, being alive is a lot more fun than being dead. But how did you do it?
Well, healing your body was easy. You're alive because the pattern is torn and your soul was free to return to this side.
Well, I must go, Bobbin. I've got to know what happened to the rest of my guild.
And I must do the same. Good luck, Rusty. And be careful.
Good fortune to you too, my friend.
Right, Rusty's part is done. We can go back outside the pattern and we can cast close, or rather open backwards, to close this rift. There we go. One down. Next up is this one. And it's the fold.
You are too late, wizard. The dead have increased their numbers here. Those not dead are suffering, and my songs were again useless. All that's left for us is to put an end to their misery. Come, and extend your help, if you can.
Fleece, what became of us? I was just walking among legions of dead.
You were saved by the mercy of yonder boy. We have not had the chance to thank you properly, wizard. But our memories are long, and we will not forget you soon. Hail and farewell. Come along now, before the dead ones return to the harvest.
There you go, and that sets up the third game in the proposed trilogy, which was going to be called The Fold. And of course, that's where you play as Fleece. I really like Fleece. She's a cool character, and it was a real shame that these games were never made. It just kind of adds to the cult like mythos of Loom that there was two. You only get a third of the story. Anyway, we'll close this. Okay, and move onwards through the void outside the pattern into this hole, which should take us to Crystal Guard. And here is Good Mold.
Master Goodmold.
Ah, the Weaver boy. At least you've escaped the terror of the Dead Ones.
It appears the Crystal Guard has not been so fortunate. But I don't understand. Why did you not use the Great Scythe?
We never doubted the scythe could save us. No, never, no indeed. Even chaos must fall under its blade. But we could not do it. To unleash such merciless evil would show us to be no better than our enemies. The entire world would have feared us when it was done. And to have become so much like our enemy was unthinkable. Just unthinkable.
And so you didn't use it?
We knew the price. The best we could hope for was to defend it bravely. But we are not warriors.
You mean Chaos stole the scythe?
We did what we could, but it was not enough. Remember us, my young friend. Tell the word that we fought with courage and chose death with clarity. Above all else, clarity.
He disappeared like a Jedi, so we can't cast heal on him to bring him back. Crystal Guard got pretty messed up by chaos, and we can't actually heal it. We just have to close the rift. Okay, and onwards. Now we reach the other side of the realm outside the pattern. This place is the Shore of Wonder, and if you remember in the when we were on Loom Island at the beginning and we found Bobbin's mother Cygna's gravestone, and it said, "Until I wait upon the Shore of Wonder," well, we finally made it.
Welcome, Bobbin. You have joined us here at last.
Where am I?
You are outside the pattern, the home of the dead, and of those transcended.
The Shore of Wonder?
Yes, Bobbin, the Shore of Wonder. And you are the first to behold it with mortal eyes.
Okay, we can talk to Signa.
Your journey has been long, and you must have many questions.
You're the swan that appeared each year on my birthday, aren't you?
You saw me clearly then. I was never sure, but those visits meant so much. My only chance to watch you grow. You see, the elders forbade me to set foot on Loom Island just after you were born.
I thought you came to visit me, but I never quite believed it.
Call it a mother's curiosity. For indeed, Loom Child, that is who I am.
My mother is a swan?
Indeed. In mortal life, however, I was Lady Signa Threadbare, banished by the elders 17 long years ago for drawing an unforeseen infant out of the loom. How I've longed to know you, and you to know me, my son.
Liar. That's just not true. My mother is buried in the weaver's graveyard.
Dear Hetchel, she and the elders put that stone there so you wouldn't ask too many questions. Hetchel vowed to protect you forever, Bobbin. She is my dearest friend, and she loves you very much. But I fear her love has driven her to recklessness.
What do you mean? Where is she?
She flew off to Loom Island to confront the Dead Ones.
The Dead Ones are after her?
It's not Hetchel they're after, my son. They want the loom itself. If Chaos masters its secrets, the pattern will be hers to control. Hetchel plans to destroy the loom, if Chaos doesn't consume her first.
No, I've got to go back there, now!
You won't get far in that direction. The loom lies beyond the lake. No, you must try a more subtle strategy.
Oh. What do you propose?
The Dead Ones move between the holes your bishop friend rent in the pattern. If you weave the holes closed, it will be harder for them to follow you.
Yeah, I've already done that. Oh no, I didn't close the whole back to the cleric's Cathedral. Silly me. That means I now have to float very, very, very slowly across this like void in reality. So anyway, there we get basically get an explanation of like Bobbin's origins and stuff. Signa was banished to the Shore of Wonder for making Bobbin from the loom. That's why Bobbin was so feared and resented by the other weavers, and why the swan who appeared at the beginning was familiar to Bobbin, because it was his mother visiting him. Anyway, if we just quickly close this one up. There we go.
That's the last hole. Now, let's go find Hetchel.
That's the spirit. We got the B note on the distaff as well. So obviously we only have one note left to learn, which is the higher C on the scale. And of course, every time we've looked into one of the scrying spheres, we have seen the swan. I guess it's Signa, and the swan draft, which shines from her eyes. That one contains the high C, and so we can't use that draft until we've completed the distaff. But there's not much left now. We just need to return to Loom Island and fix this shit. I think if we go past the shore, there we go. Notice that all of the holes in the pattern were take you out to graveyards in the real world, because that's obviously where the armies of the dead are coming through. So it was the graveyard in the Bishop's Cathedral, the graveyard outside the forge where Rusty was asleep, the graveyard in the Fold, and now it's the graveyard. Oh, and the graveyard in Crystal Guard, of course, and now the graveyard in Loom Island. And the evil, chaotic former forge is looming. Let's go over here to the loom. It's the Great Loom.
Those are the same 4 threads spun by the elders. They're still echoing in the loom.
Mind yourself, Bobbin. Get your distaff ready. You must unmake the loom now, before chaos takes control.
What? How? I don't know what draft to use.
Birds and children have no business wielding such power.
Weavers are the only ones who do have the right to use this power.
Destiny has blessed you, young Threadbare. For you alone will live on to pass your guild secrets to others more worthy of them. I invite you to serve my new empire as advisor.
Me? You? Advisor?
Of course, I will expect your full cooperation in this historic exchange of goodwill. After all, anything else may bring harm to our relationship.
Don't listen to her, Bobbin. Heed me now. Here are the threads that will unmake the loom.
Silence.
Hatchel, say something, please. I need that draft.
Enough! I lose patience in the presence of inferior beings. You will now instruct me in the use of this fascinating instrument.
Over my dead body.
Preference note.
Right, so Chaos casted silence onto Hetchel, which stopped her teaching us the unmaking draft. But of course, over here, when a draft is cast, it echoes in the loom. So if we check the loom, we can learn silence. Okay, and now we can cast the opposite of silence on Hetchel to unsilence her.
Oh, thank goodness. Now, Bobbin, quickly. The threads you need are...
Ducks are meant to be eaten, not heard. Now, I believe we were discussing the secrets of the loom.
There we go. Remember when we looked into the Scrying Sphere in the Cathedral, we saw a vision of Hetchel's fate, where she was turned into a roast duck on a plate, which looks delicious. However, unfortunately, we're going to have to unroast her by once again checking the loom for that draft.
That's not helping.
Close your eyes now, Bobbin. But keep your ears open. Here descends the third shadow.
That bird has annoyed me once too often. Now, my esteemed advisor, where were we before we were so rudely distracted?
Hetchel's black feather. She left one behind.
And so she did. I think I shall keep it as a souvenir of our little encounter.
I want that feather. Give it to me.
My, impudent, aren't we?
Right, so Chaos has been a bit of a silly person here because she, in her fury, cast Unmaking onto Hetchel. So now we can check the loom to learn Unmaking and then unmake the loom. I hope you're following all this. There we go.
Bobbin, you did it! The loom is unmade!
You ignorant fools! Do you comprehend what you have done? None of us can pass across this rift your weaver mischief has so blindly created. Your pious meddling has brought the end of my dream. You will hear for all eternity the cries of those you have abandoned, Bobbin Threadbare. You will always know that you have left them under my rule.
We abandon no one. When our side of the pattern is mended, we will return and put an end to your evil.
Come, Loom Child. It is time for us to begin our destinies anew.
And finally we have the High C, which means we can cast the Swan draft, which is actually, as Hetchel said, Signa actually said, is Transcendence. So if we exit the pattern...
So soon, Weaver? I was looking forward to spending more time with you.
Right, all that's left to do here, so basically like the loom has been unmade and the swans and bobbin are left on the other side of the rift to Chaos, so Chaos basically has free reign of the world and it's now going to be up to other people to battle her. All we need to do now is on ourselves, on myself, just cast the Transcendence draft.
Fly away while you can, young Threadbare, and know that we will most assuredly meet again.
I am ready, Mother. Let's go.
There you go, that's Loom. Such a cool little game. One of those games that really gets under your skin and sticks with you. There's a reason it has such a cult following, and it just affects you, you know. It's like so short, so succinct, has such an ambitious lore and story, but it's never like drowns you in exposition. It's always very clear what's going on. Beautiful graphics, unique puzzle solving style. Hell, I sound like Cobb in the Scum Bar. Go out and buy Loom today. You can get this game really, really cheaply on Steam. I think it might be on GOG as well, I can't remember. Or if you can go on eBay or somewhere and get an old copy of it for cheap, you can run it on the Scum VM point and click emulation engine. But yeah, that's that. Now, it's such a shame that the sequels never happened. However, Forge, the Loom sequel, is being made by dedicated fan, you can get Chapter 1 of Forge on the guy's website, and I will play that soon on this channel. Unfortunately, it looks like the guy's really struggling to continue working on the project, and its sort of fate is currently uncertain, which is such a shame because the quality of the project is phenomenally good. It's really up there with this, and I will play that. So, you know, maybe years in the future we will have Forge and the Fold, the Loom sequels. But continuing my point and click series, next is going to be Monkey Island 2 LeChuck's Revenge. I will do the special edition of that, and then I will move on to who knows what. I might do the Forge first, but certainly Monkey Island 2 is going to be the next full series that I do of point and click. So I hope you enjoyed Loom, you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next series. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Beck, who is an early subscriber of my channel and enjoys these series. How you doing, Beck? Hope you're good. I'll see you for Monkey Island 2, everyone. Take care and goodbye.